As the topic say, insecurities in the relationship, we're going to close off that part of the podcast, or that part of the topic this week. Right, so I have my brother from another mother, right, come from all the way from Trinidad. Right, he have migrated for just the weekend. Just the weekend, he just grace us with his presence just for the weekend. So no stranger, born and bred Tobagonian, he decided to leave me and get married and get pick me and all that kind of thing. Right?
That's right.
But nevertheless, it's all good, it's all fun, and we're here to really discuss. Alright, so for those who do not know, this is Quazel John.
That's right.
Alright?
Good afternoon.
So the guys, let me know if you all are hearing us, please, alright?
Welcome again. Don't give a sip. This is the second edition, and we are continuing on relationships, insecurities in relationships, and we are going to just take it a little further when we are talking about toxic relationships today. So share the live. It's gonna be interesting.
Toxic.
It's gonna be interesting.
Nice. So yeah, Prince, I appreciate that. Yeah, celebrating a number.
A number.
Happy birthday to Creed, guys. Today is Creed's birthday. We have our birthday today. We have our birthday today. We have our birthday. Hey, we've been celebrating all weekend.
Yeah,
right? So, big up to you, Creed. One up.
Literally.
There's plenty up there right now. Plenty up there right now. So guys, let me know for sure. We are seeing 11 people on the live, which is a good. It's an okay number. We want to get it higher. Right, before we jump into the discussion, right? So we want to really kind of pretty much, go into some fine tuning in regards to where this topic is concerned, right? So let us know. So all right. So last week we spoke about insecurities in relationship. We dive into some to some extent about guys, men being emotionally intelligent in regards to dealing with their significant other when she goes through that period in her life where she might take something from a previous relationship and then bring it into her current relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So we also spoke on obviously vice versa with men dealing with their own insecurities and inadequacies and so forth, and then splitting that over into the relationship,
yeah.
As well as sometimes if they don't have the avenue to express themselves, sometimes they get abusive, and that will pretty much go into the aspect of the toxicity in the relationship as well as the narcissistic behavior that both men and women operate in at times, right? So, Shireen, what is the scene? Let me know if you're hearing us. Just put a thumbs up, alright? So, basically, we're going to dive into that a little bit further, and we're going to actually, talk about how we're going to deal with, how we can deal with your insecurities, alright? So, I hand over to the guys on the panel while I take a sip.
Yeah, so last week we really touched on some really interesting things, and we just didn't want to leave it open. We know some people had some questions and some things that they wanted us to just to go into bit a little more, because we were saying that both men and women experience insecurities and triggers. We talked about the triggers that most times women experience, and we did say that also men have triggers and things that they would have experienced in past relationships, and we want people to really understand that these are things that you can be healed from. These are things that you can get over. It may not be easy, but it's something that you will have to do in order to not have a toxic relationship. That is where the toxicity comes in.
John, you see?
Well, You see, I sit here and I'm actually trying to even analyze um, what is a toxic relationship, because I really think that many times many persons are in a toxic relationship, and because it may not be something that you are able to identify quickly, let's not accept you with a crazy one, man or woman, that is right, that you could identify the aspects of toxic relationship, even if, let's say, it's in a case of the partner being a narcissist, right? So and so the toxicity of it is dealing with the individual who is a narcissist to the relationship, and then you may not have recognized that your partner is actually a narcissist, and then you even realize that you are in a toxic relationship. So you're not even able to treat it. I remember one person once said, the worst thing about being sick is not even knowing that you're sick. You understand? The worst thing, because you don't have to treat it. You leave it untreated, it go and get worse. By the time you do recognize that you're sick, is because you reach a stage 4, and the most the doctor would say is, go home to your family, make peace with them,
right?
Because we know what's gonna happen next, right? So that's my whole thing. In the idea of the toxic or mainly unhealthy relationship, really.
Yeah.
To be able to identify that you are in an unhealthy relationship, and methods to either cope or to get out.
Okay. All right. Well, I seen on the live that person saying the volume sounding lower. Yeah. Well, I have to apologize for this week. This week.
Don't hard.
This week podcast. Because we are not using our regular equipment. Our designated technical guy is not here today, right? He get caught up in last minute in some meetings and some in a tough spot right now, right? So we had to improvise, and we knew that we don't want to start and stop, right? So by all means, we want to be consistent.
We here.
Right? We here.
So for persons
right?
who not, hearing us too clear, we're gonna just talk a little louder. Right? I see that Shireen said she's hearing loud and clear. Right?
And if
so
you find we start a shout, you could also let us know as well.
Yeah, well, by the time these things go within our system, we might get a little louder.
Then they're gonna say tone it down.
No, I said. Well, yeah, well.
Oh my gosh.
You good?
Right. Right. So guys, Kwanzaa would have touched on something in his introduction there a while ago as it relates to toxic relationships, and let me just let you all know that a toxic relationship is a relationship that has unhealthy dynamics, right? It's a relationship that can cause you stress or harm because you're unsupported, manipulated, or disrespected, or otherwise, right? And Kwanzaa would have mentioned that some people may not even know that they are in a toxic relationship, right? Because sometimes it's just so subtle, right? And because it's subtle, because a toxic relation doesn't come across, it doesn't have a face really. It doesn't come across loud, it doesn't, it's just the things that you would know, and sometimes we put the word love in front of everything, so we don't address or pinpoint that this is what is happening in our relationships, right? And as I said, it is joined to the insecurities, and it is something that you can overcome. So we want to, just share some experiences so that we could be able to identify, I don't know if Quazel or Darrell, I could say for me, have been in toxic relationships, and how we would have identified that it was toxic, and some of the things that we did to get over that kind of toxicity. So we're gonna, just delve in and share some experiences. Feel free to ask your questions. Quazel, have you been? How did you know?
I have been in a toxic relationship, and I actually don't think I knew until persons was kind of like, she kind of crazy, but for me, I met her that way, so I never really took her to be toxic. I just took her that you know, she a little extra. You understand?
Right.
And then for me, for persons who do know the quasi, everybody's calling me extra. So if they call somebody else extra,
Yeah.
then as far as I concern, that's normal.
Mhm.
But then it is when the extra questioning started to take place, and then you went out the line, because I go into line by Daryl,
Mhm.
and it's like she couldn't carry me, you know,
Mhm.
kind of way.
Okay,
But
okay.
that ex was different, but she and then when I actually thought it was because she loved me.
Mhm.
You understand? She really loved me.
She didn't want to
She
leave
don't,
your
she don't want me
side.
to leave. She don't want to leave his side, and then that started to become unhealthy, because I mean, again, for those who know me and even those who don't, I'm very free spirited. So when I feel like I'm in a situation that the walls are started to close, and all of a sudden I feel as if I can't go nowhere or I can't do nothing, and I don't call you and check up every minute to say something and feeling right about this.
Mhm.
You understand? And at that point in time is when you kind of realize that, okay, probably I am in a toxic relationship. Thank
Okay.
God she leave me. so you know, I think it parted ways in a healthy way,
Mhm.
without any violence, due to the fact that I think distance was creating some issues, because she was
Okay.
Trinidad and I was Tobago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my wife is Trinidad and I'm Tobagonian. So what I suggest.
Nah, she moved across.
Okay. Well, my experience.
Avril, right.
my experience with I don't know if it was me, and I'm talking about toxicity in this aspect, because the main topic is insecurity, right?
Mhm.
And my insecurity would have been that there's something called gamophobia,
Mhm.
right? I did not know that was a thing. It's when I started researching it, I realized it is a fear of committed or being committed or being in a committed relationship. You understand? So, especially long-term relationship. I remember when it was our 5th year. I told my wife, I said, Lord, I've never reached 5 years with a woman. Never. Every time I'm in a relationship and I realize 2 years gone, I say, and I see where I could be able to go to the next level in the relationship, and I realize or recognize that she's not there as yet. I said, now, me going through that teaching moment, they may want to deal with that, I tend to sabotage the relationship. Right? So I don't know if that was me being toxic. I don't know if that was being narcissistic, or if that was actually insecurity of my own or within my own self.
Wait, what was the reason
Yeah.
for sabotage in the relationship?
Because of the fact that if I realize that the relationship could go to the next level, and the individual for long-term base, right, and the individual that I'm dealing with is not mature enough to deal with the next level, I'm like, no, I want to get out.
Sabotage.
Yeah, I got sabotage the relationship because I paying attention, right?
Yeah.
I see what I not seeing, especially men. Men have this thing. Plenty people think that men married for love or married for sex. Yo, that is not real. That is not true. Right?
Not for love.
We don't marry for love. We don't marry for sex. What we married for? We marry for stability.
Well, yeah.
You understand?
I would
We
say
look
that.
for
I would
that.
love that.
We're looking for a stable-minded individual. We're looking for a woman who could be able to say, okay, she could turn a house into a home.
Yeah.
When I get she $1,000, she ain't gonna take the $1,000 and spend half in snacks. And then when I'm looking for grocery,
It has nothing to cook.
yeah, nothing to cook.
And then she telling you,
Yeah.
but you never give me money
You
to
never,
buy food.
okay, good. You understand? So, them is the things that men look forward for in a woman in regards to marriage and long-term relationship stability. They look for that, right? So when we don't get that, and as for me, my personal experience is that when I wasn't getting, if I'm not getting that within the 2 years, that give me that inkling of some stability, now I sabotage a relationship. So I don't know, based on me asking, I don't know if that was an insecurity for me, right? I couldn't recognize it as an insecurity, no, right? But for anybody who out there or experiencing or such and then realize, hey, I want them to pursue this, because sometimes you end up pursue the aspect of the stability missing, and then you're saying, okay, let me see if I could go down the road with it. And then when I go down the road with it, you realize it's out of hole ahead.
Yeah. I am responding to the question aspect of it. I don't really see it as a form of insecurity. I would actually say probably it's more on a line of visionary.
Okay.
So
right.
So that
I would accept that. I would accept that.
so that you know what you want, right? And as you say, men look for stability, right? Even as you say that, I remember somebody asked me, because when I met my wife, I got my wife a year. I would know I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And somebody asked me, "Possible? How you knew? How you know that? You know that?" It's like, yo, Amanda's know.
Yeah, there's no. Amanda's know.
Amanda's know. Like, and as so here you say Amanda's look for stability kind of makes sense to the statement Amanda's know, because you see that sense of stability in that particular individual. So in your case, when you didn't see that aspect of stability, you say, yo, this ain't making sense. So then you have to find a way to get out. And your out was sabotage.
Right.
Someone is asking,
somebody,
for Creed, did you discuss it with the person before you
sabotage? Right. No. To answer that question, in all fairness, I did not have that conversation. Right? I didn't even self-vent into once I realized that you're not mature enough to even once I am mature enough to have those conversations, because it would start with a conversation, right? In all fairness, it would start with a conversation, but you're not seeing the avenue to even have the conversation
based on the maturity
of the individual. So what I would have done, what I would have done is basically say, well, do things that she gonna make the decision to break up the relationship.
No, that is what they call a sabotage.
That is what they call a sabotage.
No, serious. So when I no, but it. Hey, let me tell you, we talking here. This is what we said. We don't give a shit. Little story time. With me and my wife, I'm dated my ex-fiance for 2 years, right? And one of the things that was missing was the stability, and it was emotional stability, right? Spiritual stability, and it was nothing to really deal with finance, because I didn't really care about that. But I was more looking for emotional stability, and spiritual, right? In to get that connection, because my what is called that your love language, right? My love language is discussions, conversations, intellectual conversations. That is my love language. You have that, not you. My wife have that with me. My wife have that conversation with me, right? It's right. Because we going down into some depths of some heights and some lows, and we could able to expand on a topic. Right. After that, I beat in the box. What? And I releasing everything. You understand? That is me, right? That is how I am in regards to that. So when I wasn't seeing those things, when we met, when we were supposed to, we said that last week in our last episode. When we met, she going through, I going through, and then we clash. Right?
We were both in toxic relationship.
Right, we were both in toxic relationship. So when, as I say, right, how come you knew that your wife was the one? Yeah. I knew. Yeah. I knew one. Hey, it didn't take me. Hey, we never caught it.
Okay.
It was less than 6 months we get married. Well, she get knocked up.
We don't give a shit.
We don't give a shit, right? She get knocked up. She get pregnant. We decided to say, okay, well, here what? Let we make it. We do it. And look now, 12, 13 years down the road, and we're still going strong. As I tell her last week, I'm still dating my wife. I'm still dating my wife. So the aspect. No, I'm busting tape.
Go ahead.
I busting tape today. Ay, ay, ay. Right? There was a situation where me and my wife was doing big people business, right? So one time she went work and you see she color she skin. She color she skin high. Right? So your boy putting hickey all over she neck and things so she. And then she don't have them toots and scarf. So I say, yes. You go work and you go show it off, man.
Everybody go see.
Everybody go see. So she came home the evening and she telling me, boy, some ladies come into the office and say, wait, all of us still do that?
If people that still do that.
If people that still do that. And when she come, I was kind of questioning, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Right? Because one of them was saying, well, women in long-term relationship or marriage, within the first year, and it's just last week, a young lady was telling me that within the year to 2 years of the marriage just the sex drive just go cool.
Serious?
And I'm like, but that's news to me though. I cannot stand my wife naked. If I see you, I ready to jump. You understand? You know that them young pumpek when they're hot and you know like them jackrabbit jump. That's me. But again, I say this is that I did not know, as we talk about with the insecurity aspect, I did not know that was that, and I believe that answered the question, Miguel. I just used to just create a situation, and whereby she make the decision, you know,
she don't want to do this.
she don't want to be do, she don't want to do this, and when she done, I go be all fine. I go be good. I go be like, okay, I apologize. I blame. I say, it's unfortunate. I'm the one to cause this and so forth, and you know, let she go the way. Yeah.
Alright, so he would have been sabotaging his previous relationships.
Not this one.
Not this one. No, sorry. And that was because of the immaturity and whatever he would have seen that was not working for him, that if he would have continued, could have become, or already was, in my opinion, a toxic relationship, because you're not giving everything to this person, because you're not getting what you want for this person, and that is where the toxicity comes in, because it's a give and take. You must be able to have something flowing, because if it sticks somewhere, it causes a problem, and then you would need a fixing solution to that problem. Now, for me, I have been in a toxic relationship, right, before meeting my husband. And I realized that the relationship was toxic. One, I am not the type of person to be in a relationship and be, like checking people's phones and all these kind of things.
That's
but
toxic.
you know that is
That's toxic.
that is yes.
Jesus. Go ahead.
I mean, why would you be checking someone's phone? Like, I mean, checking their messages. There's a whole day work and you're not getting paid for that. Right? What are you checking to see? And checking to see if you talk to granny or if you talk to whoever. What are you really looking for? But I wasn't that type of person. I was in this relationship, and I lasted in this relationship for about 5 years. And when I started seeing some signs of no kind of accountability for certain things, you'll be having conversations and it's no longer fluid. At the beginning, everything seemed nice and nice green pasture running, the flowers, your hair blowing and everything going nice, and just giving it the picture and everything going nice and smooth, until you realize you reach the rough patches where you start to ask yourself some questions. You start to feel neglected. You start to feel what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're putting in too much and you're not getting it back. You start to feel like you're dealt a raw hand, right? But we make choices. We choose certain persons to be in relationships with, and relationships are always a 50-50. And I say that because you're meeting somebody else of a whole different personality and whatever, and you're trying to find a compatibility to come together with this person.
You mean 50-50 survival?
Survival,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
And you're trying to come together to make the relationship work. And but you'll be seeing things, you'll be realizing things in this person as you go along. It's a work in progress. And I would have realized that this person was going out, coming back late, not saying anything, no kind of accountability. Not that I'm keeping tabs on you, but if we're in a relationship and you're doing something or we plan something, you would say something, right? So that it was a kind of respect too that was falling apart, right? That was not there. And then with having conversations with the person, it wasn't fluid. You're not getting the answers that you want to the questions that you're asking. Like, where it was, why weren't you available for this? So, these kind of things. And then when people, outside elements, start coming to you and sharing based on they know you're together with this person, and I see him here and I see him there, and these kind of things start coming on you. But you told me that you were so and somebody else, and this is where these kind of things start, and you start feeling very uncomfortable, and then you start feeling stressed, and then you're trying to make amends in the relationship. But I'm talking about the relationship I was in. You're trying to make amends to the relationship, and you realize that the more you try to make amends, you might want to do a candlelight dinner, you might want to do this and make things nice, and you realize that the energy, the vibes that you was getting before is not there. Right? Remember, energies and things, they are so real. So you could feel when somebody is off. Right? And so these are things that we don't pay attention to. So I want to know, given the benefit of the doubt, all right, you must be having a bad day, but that day was the longest day ever because bad years. Because I was in it for so long. Right? Because I am taking it for granted that I love this person and this person claimed to love me. So everything just smooth. And even though the rough patches are there, you're saying that ain't gonna last for so long, and we go work through that, and you're making excuses. Right? And those excuses, how long would they last for when you still have the hurt of your needs not being met? Right?
So before you continue, so the person who was making the excuses, you were making the excuses for the person?
Yes.
Right, so that kind of now plays it in the narcissistic behavior of where he gonna portray he's not to blame for anything.
Don't blame me first.
Even though you may catch him at any time red-handed or he hand in the cookie jar, and you're gonna be like, but I saw this, and he would operate with the mindset that
the reason for that is
because you. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, cool.
But you see, it reached a period where I was actually checking the messages on the phone because of the whole scenario that I played before. So that wasn't a thing. I didn't think I needed to go through your phone, but you are not being open and honest with me. So now I am like, okay, you're sleeping or you're going outside to do something, you leave your phone, thing. And now you're seeing communications with other persons that are questionable. Communications, place, date, and time when you are supposed to be the one who was supposed to, and that does bring a kind of a anger and a kind of feeling over you that sometimes some people might be suicidal, some people might come frustrated, some people will just just start taking their anger out on you, and you're just giving this innocent kind of way, right? So I don't know if that person was trying to sabotage the relationship, but I highly doubt, because it led down a road all those 5 years to a wedding day that was cancelled. Right? That was the verbal and mental part of the toxicity. And then it reached a point, because I was blinded of what was happening, it reached a point that it became verbal. Now we say there are levels to insecurities, there are levels to toxic relationship. As I say, they are sometimes subtle and they just start off that way, and then in going it grows.
Right.
It gradually grows. So from me just having verbal, mental to physical, that is where it went. Right? And if you're not able to nip these things in the bud from early, you could end up on the hospital bed. If you're not able to also have somebody to talk to. Now, it became so serious that if anybody know me, I am not a fighter. In terms of, I mean, I could fight, but I'm not a fighter. It is not my go-to. I ain't going to look to beat nobody, right? But if you as a guy want to come to me to abuse me, listen, who ain't dead badly wounded? Because I ain't leaving that so. But I don't want to live my life pulling and tugging, fighting, and in the public space, you want to put up an impression. No.
You want to put that smile.
Yeah, smile and wave.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. And this is what some people would be going through. You would see them on a day-to-day basis because I used to teach as well. And you would go into school and you would talk to children, or you would go, even in the churches, start to say, and everybody is smiling and happy, and you know, some people be posting up pictures and all kind of things. It's like, you know, this relationship, I admire you all and whatnot. And behind closed doors, it's because it's blows going and coming when that person go home. Right? Sometimes you would see marks on my skin, as Daryl mentioned before, and they didn't come from Daryl. Just let me know.
Alright, wait. You should have, yeah.
No,
It did not come from Darrell.
Making it abundantly clear.
Make it clear.
Right? This is a past relationship I'm speaking about. Right? So by the time it blows going back and forth, and you see the persons, the in-laws, and all of these persons at the point in time, you know, would have known, you know, it was like a generational curse that was following this particular individual. And this, you see how deep this thing is actually going, because it's building.
Yeah.
So it's a generational curse that came to me with this person. This person brought this to the relationship that we were trying to build. And I heard about it, you know, I was warned about it. You know, if you think that you can't really do this kind of thing, then, you know, just simply leave the relationship and whatnot. But I am thinking that, you know, I'm in a position that I could change this person's mindset. I could, you know, this person really loves me, we could work it out and that kind of thing. So I was in it for the long haul.
Wait.
Yeah, it
But tell me
sounds
something.
funny.
Were you really truly blinded or love? Or you know what I say, love is blind? Or blinded by love?
Neither.
Because I believe, right? In fact, I know that in every single situation of your life, God, the universe, would show you those red flags. Right? Are we calling them red flags? Right? The people expose themselves in conversation. Anytime you see somebody lash out or say something that doesn't have no merit within the relationship, it doesn't make any sense, right? It is actually saying, hey, this is who you are, right? This is what, and you're rightfully, you said something before, right? And you said something before, and we're going to talk about transparency, right? What's the quote that I wrote down? A lack of transparency results in distrust and a deep sense of insecurity. You understand? So when you're not clear in communication, which he was not clear in communication, you're creating avenues for question
To come up.
What we have within our group, what we just say, I don't want no unnecessary questions.
Noise.
And no unnecessary noise. So I'm not giving or creating
The opportunity.
for my wife to come and ask me any question.
Correct.
Yeah.
You understand?
But let me say this while both of you stick that point. I have learned from my present relationship.
Ooh. Okay, go ahead.
Right? From my present relationship. That and I hope you hear me. That sometimes this goes two ways. Many times us as husbands always had to overcompensate, right? And that compensation just come from most times something of a past relationship that you as the husband or the boyfriend or the present have to now deal with, whether in the form of a baggage or whatsoever it may be.
Right.
That you have to now overcompensate for that of the past. And then you now have to deal with it. No, here's the thing about it. I could now say this. Growing a little bit in life and in relationship. In the early portion of it, I was the type of husband like, so why I had to deal with the shipping is he
Right.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Without taking it from a more mature sense that I could now do now and saying, well, okay, these are the hurts that my wife or significant other would have gone through. What can I now do to assist her to grow from that place to a better place where we could now grow? Now, remember, I start off this conversation by saying we as men or husbands or boyfriends or whatsoever state a relationship in always have to overcompensate. Right? Sometimes for the hurt of the past. So sometimes your ex cheating style might have been on the phone. And the phone go off pling pling. And we see now like this. And not you see when that's look there, like she look down her phone. And you kind of turn your phone.
Yes, you see
But
those
because
signs.
that was a signal and sign of
A
the
trigger.
past. No, it's my mother versus me.
Yeah.
But just based on how I might have respond or seeming to respond, based on something that would have happened in the past, you are now come under victim of being considered. So you cheated on me.
Yeah.
And the worst part is when they say, well, so and so used to do so and so.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there's a part that my initial sense, right, would have then lashed back out and said, so I had to deal with that.
Yeah.
But then, because you are now wife, and I do have the options of waking up tomorrow and say, okay, bye.
Yeah, or choose another option.
Or choose another option. I don't have that option. I have to now determine how best to then deal with that. So then the aspect of the point I'm bringing is the topic that you're talking about. You see that open communication aspect?
Yeah.
Most times has the ability to dissolve.
You're preaching.
Dissolve that.
You're preaching.
Because if it is your phone there and all of a sudden the phone become an issue of a hide, but then you leave the phone open.
Leave open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You leave the phone open.
Yeah.
You see, because I see somebody put up a little while ago that I would have taken on the whole burden of that relationship, and that is true. I would have definitely done that because I was trying to mend something that it wasn't for me to mend. Because at the end of the day, everybody have to know themselves, and if at that time I had put a greater value on myself,
Exactly.
right? I would have just stepped out of that. You need to get your shit together and then come to me if anything.
Exactly.
But I stood there. I stuck it out in one way thinking that I was helping, and then I stuck it out in one way taking the nonsense. So I did not have that high value on myself to really do what I was supposed to do in the first place. Right? That, end up escalating. And then 5 years of dealing with something like that is enough to have that cemented in you. You would have to take a good while to get over that, to recover from something like that. So you cannot run into a next relationship with all of those things in your psyche. But how our relationship would have started was just right out of it, right out of it. So
well, yes, I was to come to heal, right? I come with my S on my chest, my cape, I stand proud in my boxers, right? And I was to save it. I was to salvage the pieces of her heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mend it, let her know that, okay, as we were saying in the previous episode, I am not permitted to say any of the ill wills or the ill talks or the ill chats, right, as to what she might have been expressed or expressing or may have expressed to me, right? Because I recognize, and I used to always tell her, I'm glad that I saw what was happening firsthand.
He was in close proximity.
I was in close proximity to see what she was going through. You understand? Now, there's a narrative that going on, within society in regards to when it comes to insecurity. And in marketing, there's a term that is used called the SWOT analysis, right? Which is your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Right? Now, if you have to bring that into your relationship, you have to understand, in the business sector where that term is being used, is basically to build, to build, to promote, to see how you can able to maximize and improve, correct word, improve on your business. Now, understand that within your person or within your relationship, your weakness or your insecurities is to help you build. But the narrative that is pushing out there in regards to insecurities is that you have weakness, right? You're not good for nothing. They were saying you're good for nothing. You're not worth nothing. You have no value. And sometimes they may not say it word for word, but based on the way in which the conversation go, you're feeling inadequate. You feel like, wait, why in this relationship for? Why pursuing this thing for 5 years, 4 years, 10 years going down the road? You're pursuing a relationship, and then you'll be like asking yourself a set of questions. As one person was saying, you're going through deep depression.
Thoughts of suicide.
Thoughts of suicide and that kind of stuff. Because what? The person who you're dealing with don't even understand their own emotions. They don't even know how to navigate their own mindset in regards to dealing with themselves. So how they could be able to deal with you?
Correct.
So when they have this narrative pushing out there that, okay, insecurities is the only thing, no. If the business sector using the SWOT analysis or with the weakness and the threats, right, and they're using that to build, why can't you? You understand? The only way you could be able to make your relationship worth something is unless you put value within yourself, then you can put value within the relationship.
Right, and that brings me to Jana. That is why I strongly believe it's healing after a relationship that badly hurt you before
you started anew.
Right, so that is why I was mentioning earlier that you can't just come out of a relationship and just jump into the next one. Every relationship dynamic is different, and as I was trying to make the point before about being in for 5 years would have cemented a lot of things in you. You know how much things can happen and grow in 5 years, right? And the fact that you have accepted it and you keep working with it, and you would think that certain things it would have conditioned your mind that certain things is acceptable in relationships. It would have also conditioned your mind so that when these things happen, that you think that everybody that comes to you or is coming to you after that relationship has the same agenda. Or everybody who is coming to you after, if they do something that triggers what happened before, you would react the same way you have reacted in the past. So in the earlier part of our relationship, I remember at one point Darrell was saying he believes that I am taking him for somebody else. He believes that because of the way how I would have treated him in the earlier part. Mind you, it wasn't horrible, but because of the triggers, right? As I say, normal thing like picking up your phone and putting it to the side or whatever, and those kind of things, and it'd be like, you have something to hide. Because everything now brings a question in your mind. Everything that is innocently done, it brings a conversation in your brain, and yes, you start to feel insecure. And that feeling of insecurity brings on a toxic relationship because you're no longer fluid in your communication. Right? Jana is also saying, when you mentioned that you came and you heal me, she says it's not your job to heal her, but it's your job to support her during her healing process, and it start by recognizing her triggers. And that is exactly what he did. Right? So he came with his whole self, and I was whole, but whole with plasters. I was a whole person, but I just had plasters.
Plasterized.
I was fully plasterized. I probably was a mummy by that time. I was wrapped up. Right? And because of how he dealt with the situation, now the person that comes into your life is very important. How they deal with seeing, with how you would respond with the triggers of the past. How the person that comes into your life deals with it is very important. Because he would have recognized that I had the hurts, apart from him being around to see it. He would have recognized that, this is what you're dealing with, and he would have come from an angle of not judging me, come from an angle of not saying, I can't cope with this because I wasn't that person and you just treated me so, and you know what, you go your way, go take your baggage, your charge bundle and go your way. But he did not do that. We talked about it, we worked it out, and he keep asking questions like, tell me, what go through your mind? You see, that's where the conversations come. So he would have pulled conversations out of me to find out where I am at, what headspace I am in order for us to make this relationship work. So the conversations are important, right? And Princey was saying,
I just agree.
Yes, true, but you know how they say a woman usually leaves a relationship mentally long before physically leaving. Does that count for anything? Yeah, and they say men more than women. I just saying, as far as I know, would do that, leave the relationship mentally before leaving physically.
No.
You don't think that's true?
I totally disagree with that.
Well, a reason why I say that
because
woman does. Women, we talk a lot. We say this, we say that. We say, I go pack up and leave, I feel like I go in, wherever.
That is
right?
true. All that is true.
And you would talk and you would think and you whatever.
Right.
I think that men, because they're not into the you're mentally like, woman, you talk and swear one time and whatever, until when they realize they get silent, it's just out. No. Well, you can tell me from, your experience.
Experience or not. Women, listen, they will talk. When they stop talk, that is when they need to be concerned. We start with that. But the aspect of the leaving aspect, that woman will cook for you. Wash, take care of your kids, take care of you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, brother. Mentally, those things are based on obligation of the relationship, but mentally, towards you and the actual relationship, she has already left. That is why a woman will be chimmy and chummy with you even up until the point of separation, and will come home and you will reach that apartment and house empty. And to you, to yourself, but this morning we knock it. I don't understand. And you will hear many men say, but the woman just pick up and gone. Man, we got rah and rabs and all kind of thing. Women, they would have mentally, because you remember, for the woman, once the emotions aspect of that has dissipated,
Exactly.
and that would have take place long over time. That don't happen.
It don't happen.
Like a man, unfortunately, we will wake up next morning and just
we gone.
I need to say, and change. Woman, she would have give you an opportunity, a second one,
Warnings.
a few warnings. She might have even talk to your friends to talk to you. She might have even warn a couple of your friends, why? If your friend don't shape up and go. Woman does that. Might talk to a parent of yours or whatever. But when you see all of the talking take place, those are the times to truly take heed of it.
Exactly.
You understand? Because that is when she's still processing the possibilities of staying. When it comes to the wit's end, and the possibilities of leaving is what's taking place. At that point in time, all she is doing is planning an exit strategy.
Exactly.
Well, that sounds exactly like what was happening in the toxic relationship before, because they would have talked to, you went to pastor, you went to friend, you went to co-worker, you went to this, you went to everybody close to that one, like everybody that you're trying to make bring sense to the whole
like you're
situation.
trying to say a whole raffle sheet. A whole raffle sheet. Yo,
Serious.
let me tell you something.
Serious.
Women are they are planners.
Yeah.
They are planners, and they know how to execute a good plan.
Executors.
You understand? They know how to execute a good. Once a woman, so let me tell you something. If you had to go or use the good book as reference, right, and you understand the concept of a helpmeet, where they say God would have created woman to be a helpmeet, because she's a planner.
Yeah. Correct.
She's have the elements of being a leader. Because for you to help, you don't know why you're helping.
Correct.
You understand? You have to know why you're assuming this position for me to help you.
Yeah.
And then now, in the opposite of that, she had to know that she helping in a situation or something that have progress,
Yeah. It has a
that could
potential.
go forward.
Correct.
You understand? So therefore, the man's supposed to establish foremost in front a vision.
Division. Correct.
You understand?
So, and whatever aspect of it.
And whatever
Whether
aspect
it's
of
the
it.
business, the children, whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
And that had to be, as we say rightly before, transparency. That had to be clear. You understand? That had to be clear and concise. That had to be direct. So when she get that, you remember telling me when I give her when I was looking for into long-term relationship and the stability wasn't there. That is when I got freaked out. Because I do as I said before, I don't want to give you $1,000 and you buy $1,000 in snacks. That would check me off. You understand? That's my hard-earned money and you want to buy snacks. You understand? When I want to come home to a hot meal.
Literally.
You understand? Literally a hot meal. Why getting conquers?
Yeah.
No, you looking for problems. You understand?
And solo.
So I always, for me personally, things used to happen in the opposite. And I'm really grateful for that. And the reason why I say I'm grateful for that is because it made me to understand now that when you go into a relationship, right? It's because you're going into a relationship functioning as this girl's father.
Yeah.
You hear?
Yeah.
You hear the responsibility as a man in the take up, right? You understand where you're going? You exactly. You going and take up the responsibility of what your father used to do for her, protect her, cultivate her.
We even had a go
Right?
further. Consider the happenings of a marriage. Understand because we just look at it as theatrics. But understand the whole idea of the man enters first,
Right?
with his mother,
Exactly.
and then after all the bridesmaid and everybody, the next important part to that is the man has to leave at that point. Meet the woman halfway up the aisle. The exchange is between who? The husband to be and the father or the man that represents that correct position of father.
Yeah.
Hands the daughter
Yeah.
over to the man and then takes it back to the altar.
Yeah.
So then the understanding of what you're saying is 100% true, my friend.
Yeah.
That is saying you pick up the responsibility that of father.
Yeah. And if as a man you do not understand that,
Problems.
you end up in problems.
Problems.
You understand?
Sometimes, and I'll always admit, sometimes people like me might take it some time. Trust and hope that it hits you soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. You have to get with it.
Yeah.
And this is what we are here for. As we say, we don't give our safety so people could be able to understand and learn.
Yeah.
And assess certain things before you jumping into relationship. Yo, them thing, you see playing with women hard? I see one time my ex-girlfriend, she leave me for another man. And I laughed at. I really laughed at. And because I always, my way of tabanka is before the relationship. When I can't get you, I listen to my slows, I drink it Rosetta rum, I coil up on my pillow, that is my tabanka. I don't know if it's a before banka or I don't know. But yeah. Luther Vandross when Chase was a chair, he was sitting there, and all them things. You understand? All them things I get myself in the beginning. So when you going through the relationship now and I realize okay thing I might sabotage it for she to make the decision to come out. Or one time when she come when I end up with this girlfriend, this girl at the time, she just came out of a relationship and she wanted us to jump into another one, which was with me. And I say, yo, no jet. I tell her I used to go by that girl and that girl used to strip down naked. Big mama in front of your face. And you'll be like, whoa.
Hold on.
Lord, Father, shall I do this?
I see what I want.
Yeah, I see what I want, but this, I thinking about, hey, you just come out of a relationship. Why you so thirsty? You understand? Why you so aggressive? Why you so warmy inside of you? You understand? That was the question. I tell you, I'm young. Them is things man go be seen and be like, what?
Yeah, jump.
Amira.
Jump. Yeah. You understand? You want to put yourself in front of a mirror while you're doing your motion because when it come cheap.
Yeah.
You understand? And that was, they will see once that come cheap, I go start to ask questions. I started to ask a set of questions and I decided to leave her for 2 weeks. Right? I don't know if 2 weeks is maybe probation period because I do 2 weeks with she do. I leave she for 2 weeks just to see what she do. On the 3rd week, which was a pay week, I went by she. I said, okay, I go and check you. Go and check she. I call she. I said, I go come and check your thing. I go on thing. All on my way from work, them time that I used to work one or Saturday. On my way from work to her place, she was living in Canaan. I go in. I see something wrong. Something off. My vibe pick up a thing. And I said, I said, something wrong.
Something alright.
When I go now, knock on the door and thing, she come out talking, you know, no bra, no panty, but she have on a silk nightie, a silk nightie thing. Like I said. So I talking to the girl, she say, well, you know, we talking, but it lead to the point where she said, oh, she have a man. I said, what? You have a man? What that's supposed to mean? I said, so what? Who is me? Right? She said, but you could be my man too. I said, what the who? What the where? I said, I don't play that kind of games, Miss Lady. When she come and tell me I could be the man too, I said, no, you can't be, excuse me, you can't be playing two fronts like that. You is the Navy? You is Coast Guard? Who the hell go put herself in that situation then? Boom, when she think now and she said, I said, girl, I can't tolerate that. And I turn my back and I leave. You know I leave there so happy, eh? Because at first when she tell me that I play like I real vex something, but inside I real laughing. Because I already saw it. You understand? You're too desperate. You're too in need of me feeling.
And for the point for you to come out and admit is that in expand on what's up anyway.
Exactly. No.
And that person would have been, there have to be a reason why you are so loose. It wouldn't just be that way. So it would have been something that would have happened in the past that would have just caused you to be like that.
Exactly.
And sometimes children grow up with this from young because of the type of household that they grew up in. And that is just how they grow into something like that, and they just become that way. And some people adopt that kind of way, and some people have a tragic situation that caused them to be that kind of way.
Right. Now, we're talking, for people who just joined the live, we are talking about insecurities in a relationship. We're touching a little bit on toxicity in the relationship as well as narcissistic behavior, right? From both male or female, right? And we talk, as we say, we're going to end this episode or this topic and in actually, you know, sharing some stuff with you, obviously personal experiences as well as, you know, things that we would have researched to kind of help you dealing with insecurities, right? And we spoke in the previous episode where we spoke about the emotional intelligence, right? And there are approximately, let me say, about 5 elements or 5 definition of emotional or that defines emotional intelligence, right? Self-awareness is the epitome of that. That is the top. Once you start being self-aware, once you start tapping into being aware of yourself, of who you are, right? Now, it may sound like consciousness, it may be close, but it's not. Basically, self-awareness is recognizing consciousness.
Okay.
You understand? That word, is recognizing that. But you see, when you start knowing yourself, that was tell people, they remember we were talking about, this term that people just use, or when they're married, they're not a half home. Right? So you counting yourself as half, and your wife is another half. So when they come together, understand the concept, you know, when they come together is a whole. But no, it takes a whole and a whole to be a whole. To be a complete. You understand?
A whole time.
Exactly. Because you're not bringing half a child.
Exactly.
You understand? So I'm a whole man. I have to recognize myself
as a whole man.
As a whole man. I have to see my worth, right? When you take a diamond out of the where they just dig down from the mine, right? it rough, it dirty, it not refined, right? It started as a diamond. When you process it, you shape it, whatever the case may be, it is still a diamond. You put it in the jeweler and for somebody to come and purchase it. When they purchase it, it does not change. It is still a diamond.
Yeah.
So when they talk about when you start to be aware of yourself, you're able to now self-regulate, right? Motivation, empathy, social skills. You get to understand now who you are. Now, when you assume that position, then now you can deal with another whole woman, right? From a man perspective or vice versa, woman to man. You understand? You have to understand that it takes you to assume something. Then when you assume it, then you can able to give it. For instance, for example, I like to use examples. When you say love, I love you, you have to be love, become love, then give love. Don't say I love you, then the I love you that you're saying on this side does not reciprocate to your actions. So don't tell me you love me, you love me, you love me, but then now when I'm looking for it in your actions, what's going on? Another thing that does compound that aspect of increasing the anxiety, I call it anxiety, in regards to insecurities, is basically when, and I would talk from this, in this context here, from a man perspective, right? And this might kind of ruffle some feathers. Many women do not compliment their husbands.
Yeah, true. No mind, but
Compliment.
Compliment, okay.
Compliment or complimenting.
Compliment
Like
the husband uplift him,
praise.
right? Praise him, right? Not to the extent that he's a god or he is a god. He's a god, but again, I know people can want to debate that, but in right context, he's a god, right? A king, how you would reverence a king, a king in his own home, right? Most times men hear that he's a good man is when he dead. Well, he was, right?
All the goodness.
All the goodness come when he dead.
He was such a good father.
He was such a good father.
He took care of his family.
Exactly, was such a good husband.
Good motivator.
How come? No, we talk about insecurity. Sometimes some men dealing with some hurt within the relationship, not coming from the past, but coming from inside the relationship.
Yeah.
You understand? So how we deal with that on that basis?
Right, so stick a pin right there in terms of the self-awareness and not being able to compliment someone, because our self-awareness and the going back to the insecurities could not only be in a relationship where husband and wife is concerned, but also where friendship is concerned. So you could have be insecure in a friendship relationship,
Yeah, well, it applies.
right? And you know, as I talk about not being able to, you know, even give a compliment or whatever. So once you understand who you are, once that self-awareness kicks in, and you are comfortable with yourself and who you are able to genuinely give compliments to people without having an agenda to say, well, you know, I just tell you that because I saw, or you're being sarcastic or whatever. You know, they say, oh, you know, most women, jealous women. You know, and you're jealous somebody for what? You might jealous somebody, okay, because my hair red, you're jealous. And you're going to come and tell me, your hair look nice now, but you're just telling me just because. You ain't telling me because, you know, you're comfortable in yourself, but you realize that, okay, next day or so, because you know your hair red too, or you wanted to do it and you couldn't do it, or you know some kind of frivolous reason that you're not genuine. And as I say, when men don't usually get much compliments, they'll probably hear it when they pass away or whatever. But you have to be comfortable in yourself too in a relationship. It doesn't take nothing from you to give somebody a compliment. But if you feel some people, jealousy is a big one. You know, you're giving compliment to this person, somebody else pass, you're giving compliment to this person, somebody else come, you're giving compliment to this person, and you just jealous because I ain't getting no compliment. Wrong to me. Like something wrong with me, I miss out on that, you know. And you just start being, what is the word? Fake. for want of a better word.
Ouch.
You just start being fake with your friendship. Your friend might have money to do something, and you realize you didn't have it at this time. You and your friend and had that kind of relationship to really to talk about it. I don't know what kind of ship is that, but you start getting jealous and you start to distance yourself, and these things happen in friendships as well. And the fact is, what are you trying to bring across is if you are aware of who you are, these things will not become a problem. Be happy for people in their good seasons as well as in their bad seasons. Then you have your seasons as well. Don't pull aside and become in a box. You know, your season just hasn't reached yet. You know, for you to express yourself. Right? So we have to understand that, you know, sharing that energy, sending that out there, it does better for you. It does more good for you. Because you attract who you are. And in that, something you were saying earlier, in terms of knowing yourself, how you see yourself is how people will see you.
Correct.
And that aura and that energy will attract people. You don't run people down, but you attract people. And that is one of the strongest thing about human beings, that you need to understand that power. I don't need to go down that road, but that power of attraction to your energy, your personality, your aura of who you are. And it goes along the friendship line too, because it would attract the persons in your circle that's supposed to be there. If your energies are off, and in, as I say, like in marriages, and if things are off, these are things to pick up on early.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. Try this. Don't let the relationship continue. Don't let that ship sail at all. Let that stay in the harbor. Don't let that ship sail at all.
You go and dry dock.
Captain.
You go and dry dock. But
So self-awareness is the first say.
alright, so guys, we have about until about, let's say, 8:15, right? Quarter past 8. So we really want to make, you know, if you will have any questions that you would like us to answer, right? Ask your questions, alright? Flood it with questions, alright? Hey Ronel, blessed love you. You're coming a little late, but or you was watching all the time.
40.
Right? You know? So as we was talking about self-awareness being the epitome of understanding who you are, knowing who you are, dealing with yourself, right? Doing some introspection, understanding your own character, your feelings, your motives, your desires, learning you, right? Before you get into a relationship. Because let me tell you something, you see teeth and tongue? Teeth and tongue will always meet.
That's right.
You understand? So when teeth and tongue meet, now what you gonna do? You gonna slap your wife? You gonna horn your husband? You're not gonna cook for him? When he wants sex, you're coming with boxers, bingo bag, half slip, duster, coolers, right? You put on all them for what? For what purpose? For what reason?
Nothing tonight.
Right? Nothing tonight. You understand? I got a headache.
She
Right?
knock up on them like also.
My belly hurting me. You understand? So those are the things that you need to understand in dealing with your insecurities. Build your confidence. Always talk to yourself. And I talk, sometimes I always say, look the man in the mirror. Not the reflection, the man on the inside, the true person, the person that makes me. Look at that person, understand that person. Because until you understand yourself, then you can be able to understand another person. Right. Until you're able to deal with yourself and your own demons, you're able to navigate through life, navigate through your emotions, and still able to now deal with hers, and vice versa. Hey, there's where there's where that is the formula or the remedy for a perfect relationship. Really? Many people out there saying there's no perfect relationship. Who says so? Mine's perfect. Mistakes are there to be made. It have to be made. How you gonna learn? How you gonna learn? Mistakes, you have to go through life, make mistakes.
That's right.
You understand? Do make mistakes. I don't know where people get this notion from and try to correspond or line up perfection with mistakes. It don't make sense to me. Mistakes are there to be made. It have nothing to do with perfection. We all striving to be perfect. You understand? We are perfect. We come up with it. Most of us may not come up, but understand being. Once you understand being, you understand that you are perfect.
Correct.
You understand? And you have nothing to do with your facial features, with your physical features. You have nothing to do with that. Because you have someone pretty out there. But they are dirty.
Stink.
And like I was telling my daughter sometime, I say, hey, if you're rude and disrespectful, right, it's gonna show on your face. If your heart dirty and unclean, it's gonna show in your physical form. It's gonna come to reality. So therefore you had to be clean in your heart. You had to understand who you are. And then now you could be able to deal with another person. I see men who can't deal with their own self, but you still want wife and you want side chick. What the hell all start doing, boy? What kind of juice all start drinking? You understand?
Them need a sip.
They really need a sip, because I don't understand how you can deal with yourself. You have a wife, you still can't deal with the wife you have home, but you still say
side chick.
you want a side chick. You understand? Them things don't make no sense. You understand? So I'm saying for us, for this to happen, for you to know yourself, this is another aspect that happen. You have to deal with the challenges that will come in life.
Yeah.
People pose as challenges. When somebody come in work a morning and they carry on the way they carry on and the thing and they joking you. They're joking you. You know what happened in there? They're posing a challenge. They pose as a challenge, sorry. You understand? If you react to that, basically what you're doing, you're reacting to yourself.
Yeah.
Because all they do is present a challenge.
Yeah.
To recognize, to pull out of you. As the saying goes, it's not what goes in that defines you, it's what comes out that defines you. You understand? It's what comes out that defines you. So guys, closing, encourage them, inspire them, motivate them.
There's just a question here directed to the guy in blue. I'm not seeing it here, but I've seen it there. But you could read out the question.
It's not directed to me.
What's the question?
What are the signs of narcissistic abuse? Question for the fella in blue.
What sharks?
Yes. It was right before.
Yeah.
Gosh, I said deflection, man.
Deflection, yeah. Well, what I'll definitely do is to do a little research in terms of all, but some of them that I definitely do know is mind control. So the mind control actually happens like this, where they will make you think that the issues that we're going through is directly related to you.
To you.
It has nothing to do with me.
Simply put, blame.
So I horn you because last night you didn't give me nothing. So so that's one, and to me that is the nastiest form of the narcissistic abuse, because everything is basically put back and heavily stressed on you.
They are never the problem.
They are never the problem. The another thing which kind of stems from the same thing is like the way in which they would emotionally isolate you.
Yes.
So that you don't have communication with anybody else but them.
Okay. Right.
So, and everything has to be centered around them. So that even if you do talk to a family member, they're making it's like, so wait, tell them about me. So they're making it back to them. So that so first you're being chastised if you talk to them. And then when you do talk to them, has nothing to do with the narcissist, but they're going to make it about them. So everything this come back, and I guess the whole idea of narcissism is really and truly centered around the individual.
And they are most insecure persons.
Most
and narcissistic persons are very insecure person.
Yeah.
Because you would have to have people around you to help feed that narcissistic attitude of yours in order for you to feel like you are doing something good and to continue. And sometimes we don't recognize that those behaviors are one of a narcissistic attributes. Because that narcissistic people come across very subtle.
Yeah.
They do.
Silent killers.
But let me say this, I mean, I have a friend. Well, I know an individual, and he, for me, is the true understanding of what a narcissist is. But to him, he's a perfect individual.
But they do feel that they are perfect.
To him, he's a perfect individual. I mean, dress well, look good, smell good. He perfume was 3 times mine. But brother, totally about self. Everything has to revolve. If we have in a conversation that has nothing to do with him, he goes, so is he we talking about?
He's the island.
He's the island. Right? But I use him as an example to really get to the point that within the understanding of it, they always feel everything is about them, which is a form of abuse because it makes you feel as you are not important in any aspect of the relationship.
As we rightfully said before, it compounds the insecurities.
Correct.
Yeah.
You understand?
Correct. But I mean, we could definitely take some time to do a little deeper research in terms of
they come across as 19. Boy, no, I could tell you about one. I know. Bego hippie, I could tell you about one that I know personally.
Yeah.
Right? He would do something and then everybody else would be like,
yes,
nah.
night and shining on.
Yeah.
Not he. Not he. And they would hear news about it and say, nah, not he.
Yeah.
But you see what a man let us talk, boy? You see what a man never, boy. You understand? And I'm like, what?
I know what you're talking about.
And you must know what I'm talking about. We too close, so you're not to know.
You can do no wrong.
Do no wrong.
Boy, down to family and all.
Watch me.
Boy,
I want the man smile. And don't get me wrong, on a whole, I mean, I know we're getting kicks about that. But on a whole, they just have a kind of personality that even if, except, listen to this pattern, except those persons that are absolutely most close to them, who experiences the abuse aspect, everybody else, the marriage, the parish, the world at large, would put their head on a block that is a perfect individual.
It's the spirit of importance, I call it.
Hold on.
Guys, it is 8:16. And we have to wrap up now, right? But we just really want you all to take away as we try to bring us some closure into this aspect, into this topic, that we would have started. And just remember, both male and female, whoever you are, just to put a value on yourself. Just to put some words on yourself. Know who you are, understand who you are, and operate in the freedom and the liberation of who you are, because you are very liberated when you understand yourself. And then there's nothing that could come from any side or any corner to deflect or to defer who you are. Persons that now come around will have to fall in the globe of who you are, or they just keep stepping. Do not accept anything that is not for you. Do not accept less. Right? We update, and that is going to help us to attract the right people around us and to attract good relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships that lead into marriage. Just put that out there and you're good to go.
Right. So for me, basically, I'm going to use a quote from Mae West that says you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. So better understand, as my wife said, better understand yourself. Please do that first. You understand? Before you jump into a relationship where you have to be down the road holding the head and ball, you're going through depression, you want to commit suicide and that kind of stuff. Let me eliminate that. Right? We here as on this panel, we don't give us a podcast. We're here to contribute to society by, let's try and see if we could even up the playing field. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of toxic relationships out there, and we're trying to make it clear and bring that understanding to you all that there can be a perfect relationship. Once you understand yourself, once you know yourself, then you can be able to know help, bring up, build. Sometimes, as one man use this to me, say, hey, girl, I gotta break you down and I gotta build you back up. You understand? I gotta break you down and I gotta build you back up. I gotta bring you to that perfect woman. You understand? He may have been joking at the time when he said it, but hey, when you really look into the nitty-gritty of it, is that once you know yourself, you're gonna have the capability and the ability to break down and build back up. Yeah.
We just want to just say, just shout out some of the persons on the live who have been communicating. Thank you so much, Kelsha, Shireen,
Nats,
Princey,
Polo the producer,
Jana,
Bego
Polo the
Hippie.
producer, Tamika Woodruff, Kern, Hira,
Avril.
right? I know there were a
Avril,
lot
the
more
man
on.
voice.
Thank you all so much for being on the live today and for sharing your point of view and just helping us to keep this live going. Ryan, Rondell, you came in late, better late than never.
You could always watch it over, man. Yeah. Understand? So look, guys, this is We Don't Give a Sip. Right? Blessed love, love and light. Thanks to our guests flying all the way from Trinidad. Right?
Waiting for me chairs now.
Right? Well, yeah.
Because we don't give a sip.
Nice. Right? So thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Olia, we appreciate Olia.
Really.
Let we build the community. You understand? Let we build the community. Let we make it make sense.
The community communication.
Exactly. Alright? So blessed love, love and light. Yeah.
And then,
Flying?
actually, I see it. But I mean, same thing. Hey, the loose.